We also have some holiday product.
Yeah, that's from our #1 fan.
Which is the Ghirardelli assortment for Valentine's Day. You got your white chocolate, but it's creme brulee. So it's a little different, which I'm excited for because I've never had. Standard milk chocolate caramel, which is a classic favorite. And then dark chocolate sea salt caramel. We got the Ghirardelli chocolates opened up. Which one you guys want to start with?
Let's go with the milk chocolate caramel.
All right. So the Ghirardelli factory is in San Francisco. I don't know if it's the factory or if it's just like the headquarters. But I went down there and it was pretty cool. It's like right on the water. The Ghirardelli. Ghirardelli?
I don't know how to pronounce it. I was just doing some names. Oh man, are we not live? Should be.
It's got festive shapes. Anyways, this shit's amazing.
You'll never know.
Which one are we doing?
The caramel.
Caramel, okay.
Is it still recording though?
Yeah, it's still recording.
The caramel viscosity level is that of caramello.
Man, I love caramellos.
You know, because the viscosity level is between like caramel and like Rolos, or 1,000.
Yeah.
100 grand. Caramello. Chocolate's super good.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good.
You can't really go wrong with Ghirardelli.
Do they even make caramellos anymore? I feel like I haven't seen them in a long time.
Caramello?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really see them around like I used to. Cadbury had like a whole thing going on.
I just had a bunch of Cadbury.
Oh, where they changed their formula and everybody's like freaking out or something.
Or like they got bought by somebody or sold by somebody or something. I'm not really sure. Dark chocolate.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the dark
salt.
Chocolate sea salt.
I wonder if it's gonna have caramel in it like the other one did the same way.
I'm hoping for bits of sea salt.
Oh
Oh,
Straight
Are
rocks.
you all filled?
Straight rocks. Yeah, it's filled the same way. It doesn't have rock salt in it, but that's a good combo.
I've always wondered. I always thought that salt with like chocolate was weird.
Right, yeah.
And then like I guess as I'm older, I'm like, oh no, this actually kind of makes sense.
Well, I remember when I first saw like sea salt caramel or caramel, I was like, what? And then I tried it and I was like, oh, okay. They talked about though, when it comes to what natural flavors there are in nature, so like apples and stuff.
Yeah.
But our sort of anthropological selves throughout the course of human history, the idea that you could have like salt and fat and sugar all in the same sort of bite was so rare. And now some people, that's like every bite they eat. And your brain like can't handle it. It's like too crazy. It's like too hardcore. But that's what this is. Sugar, fat, the milk, salt.
And salt, yeah.
Have you guys ever had like salt on your like fruit? You ever got like strawberries or watermelon and put salt on it?
I did as a kid. It was watermelon, and I never cared for that. So, but I did do melon and cottage cheese, and I liked that.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So yeah,
like fruit and cottage cheese, I feel like it's definitely a thing.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So and then another one that was kind of weird, I guess, is that we used to just do like full on tomatoes with salt on it. Like you just throw some salt on the outside of a tomato and bite into it, and then put salt, and then keep eating it like that.
Yeah, I never did that.
Yeah.
The only salt I remember doing it is on cantaloupe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cantaloupe and salt is pretty bomb, and it doesn't make it taste salty. It just makes it taste like more cantaloupe.
Yeah.
I feel. Maybe that's just me. White chocolate, creme brulee.
White chocolate creme brulee. I'm going to assume that the creme brulee is going to be just like the caramel.
I hope it's filled. I'm hoping.
No, the creme brulee are these little
No.
brown pieces in there.
It smells really good.
It does. It's not filled. solid piece of chocolate.
So, not filled, but still really good.
Yeah.
White chocolate creme brulee. This reminds me of like a Starbucks coffee drink, like those kind that people who don't drink coffee drink. It's like the sushi that people that don't eat sushi get.
Yeah.
The Philly cheesesteak sushi. But those are the ones I like.
But well, it's funny because you say like the Philly cheesesteak sushi, but it's like in reality that's like kimbap from Korea. Like,
Yeah.
That's
So-
how it was always so hard. Like when I would bring kimbap to work, and I'd be like, "Well, it's like sushi, but there's nothing raw in it." So they'd be like, "Oh man, I'm all down for that now." Like, "Oh, I don't want that nasty raw fish," and I'm like, "Man, you just gotta try it sometimes." But yeah, this is what I made for you guys at work.
So, in your quest, what did you find out about QAnon?
So, yeah, no idea what QAnon was. Pretty much, like I just thought that it was like they just liked Trump, and I was like, oh, that's cool, whatever. And I was like, okay. So last night, like they were talking about how like I guess the whole QAnon like society broke down, and people were like, I can't believe this is happening. So I started digging into the hole, and I was like, okay, why is this such a big deal? So then I found out that QAnon is a bunch of people that believe that like Trump was like sent by God to battle a dark cabal of pedophiles that's like the whole Democratic Party and like everyone from like Hollywood and everything, and that he was like in the background battling like, and then also I guess it came up to like demons and stuff, like he was like an angel fighting demons. And like, and that's how they got like all the religious people to come, because they're like, look at this holy man exorcising all these demons from all these things. And then like, so yesterday was supposed to be the storm, and that was the biggest thing, is that yesterday I guess all federal police were supposed to just swarm down on Biden's inauguration and arrest everyone that was there, and Trump was supposed to be standing there like another 4 years. And so when that didn't happen, everyone was like, am I crazy? Like, was
I got news for you.
That's what made
Guess
me question.
So yeah, I had no idea. Like I kept seeing QAnon, I was like, oh man, that's cool. Trump, whatever. Trump's, anyone can like whoever they want, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, what up? So I just like, okay, they just did something. But yeah, I mean, the crazy stuff that spawns from 4chan and like 8kun and just those dark parts of the web that like I was telling Carl, like I just don't go anymore because I'm too old.
Well,
Too old for that now.
Not officially on the dark web, but
Yeah.
what's interesting to me is that reading a little bit about it and history and like the way that it's come about, because it's pretty new. Like the first
It was like
the
2017
first post,
or
yeah, the first
2016 or
post was
something.
late 2017, so
Yeah.
October 2017. And the thing is like some alternative theories about certain things, there's enough of a gap of information to where you could fill it
Yeah,
with stuff.
that's what they're saying. Yeah.
So when it comes to like JFK or whatever, it's kind of understandable
yeah,
why people would be so like skeptical about the official story and be like,
Yeah.
you know, how Lee Harvey Oswald was like, I'm a patsy, and then like he got killed, and then the guy that killed him died and stuff, and so there was nobody to talk to.
yeah,
And like Lee Harvey Oswald was like in Russia before, and then they have all these like scientific analysis of bullets and like curving, like bullets that go through and change direction, or whatever. So there's a lot of reason why people, that's a popular one, because But with the QAnon thing, what I never understood is this person who claimed to be a military intelligence person
yeah,
would post online, but everything they said would not come true.
yeah.
So then it's like, if the 100 things that they said didn't come true, why would you think that the big one would be true? And then because it wasn't, that's when you're like, wait a minute.
But I guess
Wait a minute. Maybe this isn't real.
so I guess
Maybe this is not fake, or maybe this is fake.
the big one was on that is that they were saying that I guess it was because after it wouldn't come true, then whoever was playing as Q, or the people that were playing as Q, would say, "Oh, that was just Trump's play." So like he failed at it on purpose so that this wouldn't happen, so that they wouldn't know that he was like onto them, and That's what they were like posting up, and that's what like why people were like, oh yeah, that's it. That's this is a serious game of shadow chess, like in the background.
Shadow. Okay. All right. Well, what's interesting about all of that is that.
Oh wait, well, I guess one more.
Take it
so
away.
one more. I guess the newest one because the storm didn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
So I think this guy was just a troll, but I'm not 100% sure with this crowd after doing the. I mean, I didn't do much research. It was like 5 hours of reading last night because I couldn't go to sleep.
Scratching around.
Yeah. And so the last little QAnon little conspiracy theory is that. This is all still a ploy. So
right, yeah.
Every single person, every single secret cabal, leftist Hollywood person was already arrested. So everyone was arrested.
Oh, in secret.
Already, yeah, in secret. So everyone was already been arrested and everything.
That's why Tom Hanks is bald now because he's in a
yeah. So they've all been arrested and everything happened.
Gulag.
But because of the fact that this was such a big thing that the American people wouldn't be able to handle it, the higher ups decided that it's still good. This is just a play again. So now all the people have been arrested. They've all stood trial, but they're going to let them continue to pretend to be the president and vice president. But in reality, Trump is the president, just not in the picture. So they called it Operation Shadow Prez.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I mean, it's ridiculous to an extent because of the fact that like they were already saying that Obama was already shadow prez.
Right. So, okay, following this thought process and logic, if Joe Biden is now Trump's shadow president, when they blame Biden for everything, or will they be like, oh, it got lost in translation. Trump told Biden to do this, and then he didn't do it. But he doesn't. It's all part of the plan to set Biden up so he will. But he's already been arrested, and But yeah, like I said, no idea until 1 a.m. this morning what QAnon was. I just thought it was just a bunch of people that like Trump. Well, that one chick died for it.
Yeah,
she got shot. Yeah, got blasted over QAnon. QAnon reminds me of there's a podcast called You're Wrong About, and one of the hosts, her name is Sarah Marshall, and she is working on a book about the Satanic Panic, which happened in the 80s, I think. So basically what they're saying is that sans like terrorism or sans like all these other sort of problems, if human society doesn't have anything to kind of focus on as an external threat to their well-being, the media will sometimes need to like kind of exacerbate a problem that isn't really a problem to get people freaked out about it.
Yeah.
So they kind of talked about the Satanic Panic, and it had to do with a couple cases, but there was one, it was a book about this woman, I forget her name, but it was called, let's say her name is Susan, so it was called like Suzanne Remembers, right? And it was about this woman who would recall these traumatic experiences that she had with her parents that weren't real, and she would be kind of coaxed into having these memories, and then she would talk about like how they would eat babies, and they like surgically attached a tail, and the therapist, who they eventually got married, she left her husband for this person, he never questioned like, do you have medical like records of your tail getting removed and like all this stuff. There was no like fact checking at all. Everything she said, they just said that was it. And she said that like her whole town was like a satanic cult and stuff, and that they would like cut off their fingers but on their left hand, but there was no question of like, is there a significant number of people in this town that are missing fingers in the left hand? Like there was no checking at all. They were just like, oh, okay. And so they had like, and then of course, with like Metallica or whatever kind of music that was coming out, it was all like Satanism or satanic music. So there was like a huge concern of panic, and part of it was probably also The Exorcist, like the Catholic Church sort of exorcism business like exploded after that, and had all these bootleg people saying they could exorcise people, and I'm sure it caused like certain teenagers who like didn't want to deal with their parents, whatever, just start flipping out. They were like, ah! And they were like, oh shit, he's possessed. Versus like he just don't want to give up his Atari no more, or whatever, just start flipping out. And then on the other podcast, The Rabbit Hole, they talked about the QAnon thing, and this lady what was surprising is that she was like fully invested in QAnon, like as invested as you can be.
So, 1 second, sorry. So it's like it's interesting because like the QAnon thing is like the same exact thing as the world's gonna end that one year. Where like everyone,
2012.
Yeah, in 2012, where
The
everyone
Mayan calendar.
sold their houses and like they were standing like.
Well, not a couple people.
The people that believed it, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Where they sold all their houses and they were
left their
standing in New
houses.
York and they're like, "Yeah, we're going. The rapture's
They were like,
happening and we're
"Here
going
it
to heaven."
comes.
And then 1201 rolled by and they were like, "Wait, what?" And like, I quit my job, I sold my house, I left, like I got nothing. So that's like the same. The storm was the same exact thing.
Right,
they were
sure.
bidding on this to be like, "Yeah."
Well, 7 day Advent,
Yeah, I know what you're
whatever
trying to say,
they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like in the same boat. They were supposed to have a doomsday thing. Everybody got up on the roof. And they were waiting to get raptured or whatever, and it didn't happen. And they're like, "All right, we'll just backburner this whole thing, and then we'll keep pressing." And they're still around today.
Yeah. That guy, same thing. Like because that guy that was in charge of it was like, "Oh shit, I put a 2 here instead of a 5, man. Like it's still gonna happen. Like, but we got like 20 more years." Like that's what he said. Like after everything was said, like, "Oh, my mathematical equations all messed up."
I read some of the comments, and people were like, "I can't believe this! Like this is supposed to end because there's babies getting eaten right now. Like Tom Hanks is about to get a stepping helping of that little baby. He already ate its face, and it's like, dude, this isn't happening. Like,
Yeah.
And they kind of talk about like the other conspiracies with the child trafficking because I know it kind of ties together. And it's basically like if you were to look at the statistics for missing children, if it were the numbers that they say, like they're like all the kids would be gone basically. So if your kid is not found, right, and you call the police and you report him missing or whoever, right, and you're like, "My kid, I can't find him," and then 20 minutes later your kid shows up and was like, "Oh, he's at Johnny's house,"
That's just
and you just go, "Oh, we found him." They count that as a missing child for that statistical period. And they do that for all the cases. And then a lot of times it's custodial kidnapping where the judge says that like you're supposed to have, visitation, and then they just like are like, "I'm taking the kids." And then but it's like his dad, like an uncle or something.
Yeah.
That always gets counted. And most trafficking is probably like labor trafficking. It's not for satanic rituals or cannibalism. It's like some poor Guatemalan working in a chicken factory in Idaho, like on the DL, getting paid chicken eggs, chicken feet, 2 bags of chicken feet per week.
But just man, the QAnon whole it was just crazy.
But the lady on the podcast was saying that she was fully vested in QAnon. She was all about it. She was like, "I knew there was something wrong." Like she sounded like she was Neo and she got hit up by Morpheus. Like she was the chosen one. Like she was so invested. And then what made it all fall apart for her specifically was that when the QAnon poster, whoever this person or persons was, started doing Bible stuff, she was like, wait. This person is supposed to be military intelligence, and her dad was military intelligence. So she knew that there's no way that they would be posting stuff about the Bible.
Yeah.
And that alone, that one post made her like just quit everything. And she's like, "Oh, it's not real. Dang it. I got fooled." And that was like months ago.
So the one I read, so he was about to quit, right? So he was like, "Okay, I'm done with this." And then I guess Q posted, "Oh, I told the president to say tip top during his next speech." And then coincidentally, the president said tip top in his next speech. And he said that just pulled him right back in. He's like, "Oh my God, he has the president's ear." And then he went on to the QAnon thing for like a whole nother like 3 months. And then finally I forgot I can't remember the whole, I just remember he went outside to smoke a cigarette. And then he was like, "I can't believe I've been doing this for so long."
Yeah, there's people they interviewed a guy who was in the Capitol at like 3 a.m. or whatever for Biden's inauguration, and they saw him out there and they were talking to him, and he was like, "I don't want to say that I believe in QAnon, but let's just say I'm waiting for something interesting to happen." And he was like live streaming on YouTube. They came back to him later in the day and they're like, "You're still here? Like, what's up?" Like, he just got sworn in, and he's like, "I don't know, man. My whole life is like different now." And I was like, "Oh, dude, your whole life, bro? Like, what did you do? What did you do with your life now that you like this isn't true?" Like, Oh man.
Yeah,
But I think it speaks to the conviction that these people have, and it's not
Yeah.
like there was a woman who quit her job.
Yeah.
She was a full-time like teacher, like school counselor.
Yeah, and quit her job.
She quit to do QAnon full-time.
Yeah, full time to spread the word of kidnapped children and stuff. It was just and crazy. Like I was like, wow, I can't.
You don't think if that many kids were going missing, there'd be more parents.
Yeah,
Being like,
like,
where's
what's
my kid
going on?
at? Like,
because I guess what they're
so
saying.
I've seen them true crimes, and they'd be having every missing kid on there.
One of the investigators or whatever of QAnon was talking about like them analyzing the posts and like people's reaction to it and things like that.
Trying to find who it is, or
Well, no, to see how many people were following the QAnon, and they were saying that they estimated that there was probably like 2.8 million people that were like into this.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder how many it is now. Though.
I'm sure not that much now.
I know.
Man, like they're all of their subreddits, like everything they were on, like everyone was just like, I've been lied to. Like there was no plan. Like where's the plan? Why is no one arrested? Like I thought like as soon as Biden came up, everyone was gonna be arrested, and nothing happened. And now Biden's president. Like there was no pedophile cabal. There was no anything.
Well, you would think that maybe some of them thought that when they looked at like the Pizzagate thing, when the dude like bum rushed that Comet Pizza, and there was like there's no basement here.
Yeah.
We don't have a basement.
Yeah.
He could have just called him, maybe, or got like maybe snooped around. Here's what you do before you rush into a pizza place with a semi-automatic rifle. Maybe check to see if there's a basement first before you bum rush in there with a weapon.
Well, but
because had he done that, he wouldn't have gotten in trouble.
Yeah, but
He could have went in there and said, "Hey, I'm supposed to make a delivery. I'm taking these ingredients to the basement," and they're like, we don't have a basement. Maybe snooped around some.
It's exactly what you say if you're hiding kids in there.
Yeah, but that's what they would say. Like he wouldn't believe that the schematics would have, or the architectural drawings would have it. Like he'd be like, it's a secret. They didn't put those in there because they didn't want anyone to know. So regardless, I think he was going to rush in there with a gun, no matter what research he did.
Do you think that they thought there's like a tunnel system underneath?
Possibly, maybe.
Because how would they get like kids in and out? Or is that just where they? Like, is that supposed to be where they held the kids?
Does it have a ball pit? Kids go in a ball pit and then they disappear. They just don't come out.
And then,
because that was like, because I mean, because when I was in Miramar, I mean, granted, it's a military base, a completely fucking different environment though. But our whole flight line was built over a whole tunnel system. So like you could move in the tunnel systems to each hangar and stuff like that. And one of the squadron's ordnance shop was all arrested for having a meth lab in the tunnels underneath. So
good old tunnel meth labs.
Tunnel meth labs.
Classic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was another thing about. Oh yeah, I read an article. I couldn't read the whole thing because it was way too long. But it was a guy who is he's like a game designer, but it's like for like LARPing and stuff, like not video games, but like other types of games. Yeah. And he was analyzing the QAnon thing from the point of a game developer, and how like. Like, so let's say in a video game, you'd have maybe Easter eggs or like switches or, like Tomb Raider where you like pull this and like a door opens, or in Zelda and it goes, right? He basically was talking about how the QAnon thing is designed to be that way, where there's these little things and then people make all these connections that aren't there, or they make them on purpose. And then I read other little things about like who the person's supposed to be. Yeah. I think it's someone that might work or know someone who knows Trump. So they have insider information. Yeah. So they are able to be like, Trump is going to do this or he's going to do that. Yeah. And then, people might know that are close that they just played up maybe for fun or because they know it gives them supporters. I mean, why would he fight it if it helps him out?
Yeah. Okay. I feel it, yeah.
So, but yeah, the storm, I guess, didn't happen. I think the storm was supposed to happen like a bunch of times. Yeah, and I guess that was the last moment.
Yeah, that was the last.
One thing about Biden, people are talking about all the executive orders. He basically like did his thing, and then he sat down and started signing them. And the executive orders, I feel like, if the incoming administration, if all they're doing is counteracting the executive orders from the last. That'll just snowball.
Yeah, there's just nothing going
and every
on.
presidency will just be them undoing every single one.
Yeah.
So you can't really compare maybe the amount of executive orders if all they are doing is negating the previous ones.
True.
So I think the judgment there, based on that, requires more critical thinking. I think.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Just a little bit, because you have to see what they're doing and like what the actual executive orders are. Because like, yeah, if you're just like, oh, he did this many and he did this many, and that was what makes him worse than the other. But you're like, what were they about? And that's what people do. Like, they just don't. No one cares about content. They only care about what's on the outside. It's like, like what was it? I fucking love science. They did an article where the title was like, government genetically modifies weed or something so that you can't test positive for it in a drug test or some shit like that. But then the whole article was pretty much like, yeah, this is our experiment to see who actually reads the article and who just reads the title and then throws it up and say, oh, this is ridiculous and blah, blah, blah. And they pretty came up to like 80% of the people didn't read the article. All they did was read the title, shared it, and shared their thoughts on the title, and that was it.
Right.
But not what the article said.
Well, that's basically like the one where it was like hydrogen dioxide, and we're like, you can die in it, it like can kill you and stuff in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's H2O, it's water. We're like, we need to ban it. And they were like, oh, let's ban it. They had a petition, and all these people signed it. I think had like a congressperson talking about like, it's harming the children. And
It's always about the children. It's always about the children. Did you guys watch Who Is America?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just that the whole gun thing was ridiculous.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah, it was like the first episode. He was the I think it was Russian, I'm not sure, or Serbian general or whatever, and he went with all the he went in for the training classes for preschoolers.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is Gunny Rabbit, and it's like a Uzi with like bunny ears on it, and he gets like
he was supposed to be Israeli.
Yeah, Israel. Okay,
Israeli
Israel,
defense like commando.
And yeah, he got like real Congress people to go and make a commercial of it. And then they're like, and one of the dudes is like, yeah, he like has the Gunny Rabbit, and he's like, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And he's like, that's where you gotta shoot him, kids. Like, and then he's like, oh, unicorn rocket launcher. It was the most ridiculous thing. Like, I don't know, QAnon is pretty ridiculous, dude, but it was pretty ridiculous that he got people to endorse this. And they were like talking about like, oh, 2-year-olds need to be taught to shoot guns so that they could defend themselves at school. You need to watch it.
Yeah. Is it on Netflix or?
It's Showtime, so Showtime only. So
I thought it wasn't on Amazon.
it might be to purchase, maybe.
Amazon and Showtime.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know it was on Showtime when I watched it. So, but yeah, it was that was pretty eye opening about a lot of things, like the whole like the dude with the boat, the yacht making company.
Where he was like, yeah, can you put like a gun on here?
Yeah, he's like, can you put a gun on here? Can we put
people?
cages?
Or
like how many girls could fit in these cages? He's like, I can make it as many. I can put as many cages as you want down there.
Or like if there's a refugee like swimming, and they're like, how can we shoot him or something? Yeah, I mean it's not surprising though.
The show is called Who Is America on. It's a Sacha Baron Cohen. It was like his new show after a long time, right before Borat 2.